Hi everyone, Heather here with Astrology.com, and today I am just bringing you a really quick video, very simplistic, talking about sun signs, because in Western astrology in particular, the position of the sun in our birth chart is very important. The sun is one of the biggest influences on us in a very physiological way, right? In a very physical way that we can see, that's very tangible. But also when it comes to the birth chart, it represents sort of our essence, the core of our being, our core nature. It's represents the soul's expression of purpose in the physical reality. It represents our connection to our soul, to our higher self, to deeper meaning, broader purpose. It represents our life force, our vitality. It shows us what we need in order to feel successful and fulfilled in our lifetime. And so, it's really important to be able to connect with and utilize the energy of our sun signs in order to feel good about our lives and the way things are going, in order to feel like we're being true to ourselves, in order to follow our path, to connect with our purpose. And so, the sun is it's sort of basic, right, to a certain extent, but it's very important to connect with that energy. And, even when I did like a more sort of intricate medical astrology course with one of my teachers named Lynn Coiner, one of the things she gave to us was a handout about sun signs and how connecting with the psychological aspects of the sun sign and sort of avoiding the pitfalls of the sun sign can, really help to create a good environment for good health, for you to thrive, right? Because the sun does represent our vital life force energy, our vitality. And so when we're not connecting with the energy of our sun sign, our vitality becomes depleted. Right. And so we don't feel that drive, that motivation, that optimism to keep going in life. And we can become depressed and depleted and lack the energy that we need to move forward. And so the sun sign is really important. And so I'm going to be sort of getting into just each sun sign very briefly, very basically, but hopefully I can give you a little bit more depth of knowledge than, what you already know about your sun sign, because I know it's a familiar topic for most people that are interested in astrology, but I'm going to come at it from another perspective so you can sort of utilize the energy a little bit better. So when you're feeling depleted, when you're feeling disconnected from yourself, when you're feeling depressed or down, or if you're finding yourself sick a lot or something like that. I mean, illness can come from a lot of different places in the chart, but following the sun sign and avoiding those pitfalls can be very important, as I just mentioned. And so the sun represents a lot of different things in astrology. It represents the father, especially in early childhood, or the more authoritarian, authoritative parent. In this day and age, it's not always that the sun represents the father and the moon represents the mother. Sometimes it's the other way around. Sometimes it's the grandfather. It depends on who raised us, what context, who is the most nurturing parent, who was the one that was like out in the world working more, who was, the authority figure. So it just kind of depends. So this is going to be a little bit more dependent on what's going on in your life and what you have going on in your chart in terms of that influence. It also represents what we need to feel successful. It represents, part of our career, right? Because it represents purpose and our soul's expression of purpose, there is an attachment to career and success out in the world, worldly success in the way that we project our energy out in the world. It's our creative self-expression. So the sun is really important for, connecting to all of those things. And, in this day and age, a lot of times the way that we express our purpose, the way that we choose to do that is through our work, right? Because we live in a society right now where pretty much everybody has to do some sort of, work in order to live and survive and get some sort of income. Not the best system if you want to be able to express yourself creatively and freely and to thrive in that way and to do the deeper work and develop in those respects. But it's the system that we're in right now. So the ideal for a lot of people is to connect that sense of meaning, that sense of purpose, that creative self-expression to the work that we're doing and putting out into the world, because we spend so much time focusing on our work, on our jobs, on our career. And so if you can connect your purpose, your passion, your creativity to what it is that you're putting out into the world, you're going to feel much better about your day-to-day experience, right? And even if it's not something that you're connecting with through your work and through your career and through your job, connecting with your sun sign energy in different ways can be very, very helpful. So you can feel happy and optimistic and good about what it is that you're doing. You can keep that vitality, that vital life force energy flowing through you, so you can navigate the world a little bit more easily. You can feel like you have enough energy to get through the day, right? So we need to nourish our sun signs in order to feel whole, to feel complete. And so, the sun sign energy, if you're familiar with the signs, you'll have an idea of what this sort of represents when it comes to the different signs. And this is going to be a very general sort of overview. If you have different planetary placements that are in connection with your sun, like an example would be if you have your sun conjunct Mercury, that's going to change the energy a little bit, even if your sun is in Pisces, right? Because you're going to be more analytical, you're going to be thinking a lot, right? When you have the sun conjunct Mercury, your mind is always going, you're highly intelligent, and it can be very difficult to shut your brain off. And so, people who have the sun conjunct Mercury are prone to anxiety because they're overthinking, ruminating constantly, even in the sign of Pisces. And so, that's going to change the energy. So this is just an overview. If you don't know specifically what's going on in your chart in terms of the planetary alignments with your sun, then I recommend, getting an astrology reading with someone. You can even do a single question reading with me and just ask me about all the alignments with your sun and what that actually means when it comes to your purpose and what you need to do in order to feel like you're fulfilled in life. And in addition to that, the houses are going to play a role in that too. They're going to give context to the sun sign. And so an example of that would be if you have your sun in Virgo in the 10th house. The 10th house rules career and public reputation. The sun, again, rules success and what you need to feel purposeful, to feel like you have meaning in your life. And in Virgo, the highest expression of the energy of Virgo is to act in service. So this indicates a service-oriented career where you're showing up and helping people in a very detailed way, right? Because it's Virgo, and you need to be using your mind, your intelligence in what it is that you're doing, and you need to be recognized for the service that you're providing for people in a big way. It's not just about in the 10th house. With Virgo's quite humble for the most part, right? But in the 10th house, a sun in Virgo person would need to be recognized for the service that they're providing, for their gifts that they're putting out into the world. Not necessarily in this like big egoic way, but just to feel like they're, to know that they're on track and that they're doing the right thing, right? They'll feel more in alignment if they're getting that recognition, that reinforcement, that positive reinforcement that they're on the right path, they're doing the right thing, and people are enjoying the work that they're doing, right? And so getting that validation that they're helpful. So this isn't just about Virgo, this is about all the signs. So I'm going to get into Aries first. And so Aries sun sign people, Aries sun signs are all about action, right? It's cardinal fire energy. So this is about initiation. It's about taking action. It's about acting on your willpower. It's about exploring new and exciting things, acting on impulse. And you need to feel really passionate about everything that you're doing in life. There has to be a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of passion. You have to have the ability to take action on your passions in your day-to-day life, in your day-to-day existence, and especially when it comes to your career and what it is that you're doing out in the world, or else you will not feel successful. You won't feel vital. You won't feel motivated. You won't feel that fire, that you need in order to keep going. And so, to maintain and restore your vitality, you need to constantly be exploring things that are new and exciting. You need to be constantly trying new things, using your physical energy too. It's very good for physical activity, acting in a physical way out in the world. So if you are feeling unmotivated, not like you're lacking passion or something along those lines, like getting into a really good, new routine, usually intense physical activity is best for Aries rising people, but, it just kind of depends. And so expressing the will, making decisions, taking risks, experiencing life in a huge way, and not allowing yourself to be bogged down by limitations that are imposed on you from other people or from yourself. So having too much limitation, too much restriction on your willpower is going to be very detrimental to you. It's going to sort of bog you down. So making sure you have that ability to be independent in the way that you need to be. And so for Taurus sun sign people, Taurus people need a sense of comfort and stability and consistency in their life, or else they're going to feel a little bit off. You still need to be able to adapt to change, right? Because change is part of life. It's just the way that it is. The only constant in life is change. And so there's a need to be able to be flexible, which can be very difficult for Taurus people a lot of the times, because they become very attached to their habits, to their physical comforts. And that's okay. You're here to experience physical comfort, and you're here to appreciate in physicality things that have true value and true meaning. And it's not just value like, oh, this is worth a lot of money. That's not a Taurus. It is a Taurus thing to a certain extent, right? Taurus is associated with money, but it's not, it's beyond that. It's things that have true value. And also there's an association and a deep appreciation for Mother Earth and for nature. And so connecting with nature, growing a garden, growing your own food, because Taurus loves really good, really nurturing comfort foods and things like that. And, a lot of times you'll have a lot of Taurus energy, especially like the moon in Taurus, or, Venus in Taurus or something along those lines. They can, like to cook. And to create good food, but focusing on, nature and getting really grounded, getting really down to earth, growing a garden, that can be hugely nourishing and hugely rewarding to the energy and the vitality of a Taurus sun sign, right? So connecting in that way that's very deep, very grounded, and being able to, enjoy material comforts and not to be ashamed of that, right? Because a lot of times in the spiritual communities, we're, spouting all this stuff about non-attachment to physicality, but we're here in the physical world to have a physical experience for a reason, right? We wouldn't just be here with all this like hard physical stuff around us to not touch it and not interact and not engage with it. That would be kind of strange, right? That would be a weird little trick that they were playing on us. I mean, to a certain extent, yeah, you need to have that broader meaning, but don't be afraid to enjoy the pleasures that are presented to you in life if you're a Taurus sun sign person, because you need that in order to feel nourished, in order to feel vital. And if you don't have that sense of stability and security, you can feel depleted and you can feel, almost depressed. And so that's going to be really important to you. And again, the house sign, or the house that this sun sign is associated with in your birth chart, is going to tell you a little bit more. It's going to give it context. For example, if you have Sun in Taurus in the second house, then you really actually do need money in order to feel successful and good about, what it is that you're doing in life. And part of your purpose is to acquire wealth. But if it's in, let's say like the seventh house, this is going to be more in alignment with like finding yourself and finding your identity through relationship, right? So it depends, there's a lot of different stuff. There are many different layers, and this is just the foundational layer to interpreting the sun. And so anyway, Gemini sun sign people, you need to be able to follow your curiosities on a day-to-day basis, because you're curious about a lot of things and you get excited and enthusiastic about a lot of things, and your energies are sort of spread kind of thin because, there are just so many different things that you're interested in, right? So it's like kind of piecemeal, like, oh, I'm over here and that's really exciting. And then I'm curious about this thing. I'm curious about that thing. And that's okay. You need to move with the energy. You need to be able to play, to be curious, to use your intellectual energy as well, and to communicate constantly. Unless you have something going on with your sun, like maybe Saturn conjunct the sun, or sun in the 12th house, maybe that could affect this a little bit. But unless you have that, you're going to need to have really good communication with other people. And one of the ways that you find yourself is through communicating with others. And so constant communication, constant learning, growing curiosity, play, having fun, really. The Gemini people really want to, engage with humor, with fun, with this like light energy. But at the same time, they're very intelligent, right? And, they're the social butterflies. They know how to be who they need to be in any given situation in order to not only get what they need, but adapt, right? So they can fit in wherever they need to fit in, based on whatever hat they need to wear at that time. And so that's a little bit about Gemini sun sign. And so, yeah, exploring new ideas, new experiences, and allowing yourself to be adaptable and to sort of go with the flow, go with the energy, that type of thing, because it is a mutable sign, right? So it's about transition. So allowing yourself to move with the transitions in life. All right. Cancer and Cancer Sun. So part of the way that you find meaning and purpose in life is through connecting with the home, connecting with family, and not just your biological family. It can be friends that feel like family, relationships with people that become your family, connecting with your soul group, your soul family, the people that you can surround yourself with that help you to feel safe, secure, and nurtured and supported emotionally, right? And there's a need to nurture also with Cancer sun sign people, even if you have a tough Cancer sun sign where it's like a tough exterior, like if you have the sun at the apex of a T-square between like Pluto and Mars, right? That would give you a more scorpionic energy, a more intense energy where you would need to deal with intensity to a certain extent. But even so, there's still this inner need, this inner drive to nurture other people. Also, this is a very feminine energy. It's a very maternal energy. It's very good for connecting with women, that type of thing as well. But really, it's about laying down roots and exploring that and having a really, also sun sign Cancer people need to have a really solid, really awesome, really beautiful home environment. They usually put a lot of energy into their home, making it look nice, making it feel good. But to be nourished on a soul level, you really need to connect with your soul group, with your family, with the people that help you to feel comfortable, help you to feel more at home in this physical existence. So yeah, that's, Cancer rising, Leo, or Cancer sun sign, sorry, Leo. So Leo is all about play, connecting with the heart or connecting from the heart. And Leo needs to be recognized to a certain extent for what they're doing, what performance they're putting on, what it is that they're projecting out into the world, their creative self-expression. They need that validation, that recognition, that appreciation for their creativity and for what it is that they're doing out in the world. They also need to be able to be very passionate about whatever it is that they're doing, because Leo rules creative self-expression and passion and things that we connect with on a heart level. So we have to really feel like Leo sun sign people have to really feel for whatever it is that they're doing in life. They need that passion and they need to be expressing themselves creatively out into the world, whether that means performing in theater or something like that. Even though Leo sun sign people, not as many actors as you would think. That's like Leo moon people I find to be more actors and actresses, and maybe Leo rising a little bit, but that's sort of beside the point. So you need to be able to create something out into the world, to be passionate about what you're creating and to be recognized for your creative gifts. And also, Leo can be it's a fixed fire sign, right? So the things that you're passionate about, you can sort of hold on to a little too long. And so there is a need to be flexible and adaptable, because Leo can be deeply nostalgic where, it's hard for Leo to let go of the past and let go of like those glory days or it's like when you're thinking about, the good old days, right? Leo's always thinking about the good old days and, wanting to hold on to aspects of that. And, you might be in the good old days right now and you wouldn't even know because you're focusing on the good old days from before. So there's a need to be flexible, adaptable, to let go and to move on. All right. And let's see here. And and Leo, of course, needs to, feel love, feel respect from other people. Leadership positions are good for Leo people as well. And then Virgo, so Virgo sun sign, we did talk about a little bit at the beginning, Virgo sun sign and what Virgos need in order to feel fulfilled and to have that vital life force energy, flowing through them and to feel that sense of purpose, that deeper meaning, that deeper sense of connection to life. And so Virgos, the highest expression of Virgo is to show up in service of others, to use that discernment, that those critical sort of judgmental abilities that Virgo sun sign can have, and to use that to help other people. Use your discernment, use your practicality to help people in very practical, very grounded sorts of ways. And so showing up in service and helping other people is going to be very important to a Virgo person. Also connecting with the body, with health, with nutrition. Those types of things are very nourishing to a Virgo sun sign. And connecting with nature as well. All of the earth signs really need to connect with nature to a certain extent, whether that be, connecting with plant medicine, connecting with nature in the sense of growing a garden, connecting with your food in a very powerful way, which is a very Virgo thing to do, because Virgos are often very, aware of food and what they're eating, and because it rules health and nutrition and things like that. But there is a need to connect with the earth and to do something that's very practical and very grounded with that energy in order to feel fulfilled. You need to be useful. You need to feel useful to others. The downfall of the Virgo sun sign can be obviously self-criticism and also being too critical of other people, right? So letting go of that judgment toward yourself can go a long way. So, just making sure that you're not being too judgmental of everything that you're doing. And if you don't feel like you're in service, you're going to be judging yourself for that, right? And if you feel like Virgos can be very humble, but they can have a hard time getting recognition and getting praise for the work that they're doing. So they need to learn to receive, right? To receive praise, to receive love, to receive appreciation for the service that they're getting, unless it's in the 10th house. But even then you can have a difficult time accepting compliments and things like that. Certain houses will change this to a certain extent, but for the most part, Virgos need to learn to be open, learn to receive, and learn to be adaptable and changeable and move with transition. Usually Virgos can do that to a certain extent because it is a mutable sign, right? So there is an adaptability there, even though it's very wanting to plan everything. Okay, and so Libra. So Libras are all about fairness, balance, justice, those types of energies. So wanting to create balance in life, wanting to create a sense of fairness and equality in your surroundings, and also wanting to connect with people in order to find that deeper meaning, finding that deeper purpose, finding yourself, right? So a lot of times Libra sun sign people in particular will try to find themselves through relationships with other people. And, a lot of times Virgo sun sign, Virgo moon sign, Virgo rising sign, even I've seen that they feel really pulled toward relationships. Even if those relationships are not quite working, they feel like they need to be in a relationship and they feel very compelled to be in romantic relationships at any given point in time. These are the serial monogamists, sort of. If there's other stuff going on here, I've seen Libra sun sign people where, they're always in a long-term relationship, but they're always cheating on that person, right? Because they feel like they need to have that stability, that relationship, that balance. But, there's something there that isn't working. So they're seeking it from the outside. So it doesn't necessarily mean that, Libra sun sign people are always going to be very committed in their relationships, but they do feel like they need to have validation from the other, right? And they need to find themselves through their relationships with other people. So creating, fairness and balance and cooperating with others, that's going to be really important. But you also need to learn to, find yourself through yourself, right? Find yourself on your own. This isn't just about placing all of this burden of, finding your path, finding your purpose on other people. You need to learn to go within and to find that for yourself as well. And once you do that, you'll have those really good, really solid relationships that you sort of crave, that balance that you crave. All right. And then Scorpio this isn't rising sign, Scorpio sun sign people, sorry. Scorpios are, we all know Scorpios are very intense, very passionate. And so, that's kind of what Scorpios need in order to feel, fulfilled, to feel vital, to feel alive, right? Scorpios get kind of like a kick or a little jolt out of getting really intense about things, getting passionate about something. They get really fixated on something. And when they speak to you and they get really intense about what it is that they're talking about, they feel alive, right? They feel like, yes, that's why they'll get so intense about it. So what keeps them going, what helps Scorpio sun sign people to feel motivated, to feel vital, to feel like they have that sense of purpose is constantly going deeper, diving deep into their passions, getting to the truth of what it is that they're looking at. And, they like to convey what it is that they have found and discovered very passionately. And, it can be difficult for Scorpio rising people once they become fixated on a certain topic. And once they've made up their minds about something, it can be hard for them to be swayed otherwise. And so that's where the flexibility and the adaptability comes in, because Scorpio is a fixed sign, even though it's a water sign, which water signs are more flowy and, they kind of go with the flow. It's fixed water. It's I am going this way. It's like a raging river that's choo, or a waterfall or something. It's going in that direction and it's very difficult to stop it. And so, there is a need to be a little bit more receptive and a little bit more adaptable when it comes to your mindset or whatever it is that you're doing. If you're really passionate about it, it's going to be very hard to get you off track, which is for the most part is a good thing, right? But there is a need to surrender and let go, especially with Scorpio sun sign people. You can become really, you can have really strong emotional and psychological attachments to people and events and things. And so that's really where you need to surrender and let go, so that way you can move on to something else. And, so yeah, but Scorpio rising, very passionate. You need to be passionate about everything that you're doing. And when you lose that passion, when you lose that drive, that's a sign that you need to move on to something else, right? Even if you've put a lot of time and energy and effort and a lot of emotional energy into whatever it is that you're passionate about. When you're not passionate about it anymore, it's not going to work anymore. So you'll feel depleted when you're doing things that you're not passionate for. Let's see here. And so Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising people, or no, just Sagittarius sun sign. Sorry, I keep saying that. I'm used to doing these forecasts for all the signs. But so for Sagittarius sun sign people, the deeper sense of purpose and meaning in life, sort of in a funny way, comes from constantly seeking and searching for a broader perspective, a bigger meaning and a bigger purpose in life. It's about connecting and exploring different philosophies. It's about learning through experience. You need that sense of adventure. You need that sense of learning. And also Sagittarius people need some sort of goal to work toward. It's the archer, right? It's the centaur that's like an archer. And so Sagittarius is pointing its arrow on this like point that's really far off in the distance. And so, that's sort of the nature of Sagittarius. They need to have a long-term goal. And once they have that long-term goal, that broader perspective, they can shoot their arrow and they can get it, right? It motivates them to keep going. So you need to always have a bigger purpose, a broader perspective, and something that is more far-reaching and more expansive than what you have right now in terms of like some sort of long-term goal to aim toward. And if you don't have that, you feel aimless, right? And then you don't know what to do. And so that's when you feel depleted. That's when you feel that lack of energy, and also connecting to something broader and bigger in terms of like a religious philosophy, spirituality, some sort of deeper, bigger philosophy on life. Also constantly learning. Sagittarius is one of the philosophical signs. It's the most philosophical of all of the signs, and it's always trying to learn, but do the deeper learning, right? It's not about learning like details in math and like little, things like that. It's the more expansive mind. It's and it's things like philosophy and all of that. Let me think if there's anything else. So yeah, and also you need to have, a certain amount of freedom, right? So you're adventurous, being a Sagittarius sun sign. And so a need for freedom is there. When you feel like people are infringing or imposing on your freedom, that's going to, it's going to deplete you, right? So you need to be able to feel like you're free to have adventures, to do whatever you want to do, to explore to a certain extent. So there is a deep need for freedom, and a deep need for, an immutable sign, the ability to change and to adapt as you see fit. And then we have Capricorn, and Capricorn is a sign that is associated with, rules, regulations, structure, and responsibility. And from a young age, a lot of times Capricorn sun sign people, they'll be like the little old men when they're old, or when they're young. And, they'll be very responsible and very, hardworking and very serious. But, Capricorn sun sign people, they do have actually usually a really good sense of humor. It's sort of like an unusual sense of humor, but they tend to be very funny. It's more of like a subtle humor, like a dry humor, but it's like, it is kind of funny. They have an unusual sense of humor. So anyway, that's kind of beside the point though. So Capricorn needs to feel responsible. It needs to be recognized for the responsibilities that's taken on. It needs to portray that role of the responsible person, right? Like, I am doing my work, I am working hard, and they like to work hard. You need like hard work in your life. You need some sort of structure in your life to keep that vitality, that life force energy going. But there's a tendency sometimes for Capricorn people to become too rigid, right? And so, there's a need to loosen up there a little bit. A need to be able to change, to be adaptable, to, be able to do new things and explore new horizons, and not to be limited by the responsibilities that you've taken on, because it is a cardinal sign. So it is about new beginnings. It is about starting new things. And Capricorn is the type of sign that can start something and follow through and see it through. And Capricorn sun sign people tend to get young younger as they get older. So they'll loosen up, they'll loosen those boundaries, they'll loosen that rigidity, and they'll become much more playful and much more like fun-loving, and just a younger energy as they get older. And a lot of times they'll look younger as they get older, especially Capricorn rising more so, but even the sun sign Capricorn, they tend to like look better and look younger as they get older. And they tend to loosen up in that way. And so, Capricorn needs rules, structure, responsibility. You need to be seen as responsible. Okay. Let's see. And Capricorn, just be careful not to be too pessimistic and too serious all the time, right? Use that Capricornian sense of humor, because, that can sort of bog you down and weigh you down as well. And so Aquarius, sun signs. Aquarius is sort of an enigma. Aquarius can be very individualistic, but also very dogmatic in their individualism. And so there's a need to be unique, to be independent, to do things that help you to feel free, to feel like you're expressing yourself freely. There's also a need to sort of merge with the hive mind and merge with, other people's energy. So there's a kind of a concern for what other people think, even though they seem like they're the rebels. That's why they put on this like cool, calm, collected facade. And so they're like, so cool, right? But like beneath the surface, there's all this stuff going on. They don't want you to see that, right? They want to fit in. They want people to like them. They're very good at connecting with other people socially. And so socializing and having a really good friend group is important for Aquarius sun sign people in order to feel vital, to feel like you have that energy flowing through you. Also, again, that sense of independence, doing things that are innovative, that are new, constantly changing it up is important for the Aquarius sun sign people. If you're constantly doing the same thing over and over again, you need to be able to have that flexibility. And believe it or not, Aquarius people can be very rigid. They do have that fixed energy, and they are co-ruled by Saturn. Saturn is very rigid. It has very strict boundaries, right? It places limitations. And so, there is a need to be flexible, be adaptable, and to let other people in, because even though they're very social and they can be these like social butterflies, they like to connect with groups of people. One-on-one, they don't let people in quite as easily. And so there's a need to open up a little bit and to be a little bit vulnerable and to be comfortable in that vulnerability with other people. And so, all of these things are important for Aquarius people. So, being independent, being individualistic, doing the things that are unique to you. But still, also humanitarian causes can be very nourishing to Aquarius sun signs because they are sort of the humanitarian sign. And so doing things that are for the greater good of all humanity, right? That better the world in one way or another, that's going to be really important for the Aquarius sun sign as well. Okay. And then Pisces sun signs are kind of an interesting one. So Pisces sun signs can have a difficult time finding themselves, finding their purpose, connecting to that. Because Pisces as a sign encompasses energy from all 12 signs in the zodiac, all the 11 signs that precede the sign of Pisces are encompassed by the energy of Pisces. And so this is an interesting sort of energy because they're so open, they're so connected to other people, and they're so compassionate a lot of the times that they can lose themselves in other people and in other people's energy, and they can have a very difficult time because Pisces is foggy and confusing. They can have a hard time figuring out who they are, right? Because they kind of get lost in that fog and in that confusion. And so a lot of times when you meet someone who's a Pisces, you'll be surprised that they're a Pisces because you'll see more of their rising sign or maybe the planets that are in conjunction with their sun or whatever it is. But Pisces, what it really needs is deep compassion, deep connection with other people. It needs that deeper sense of spirituality, that creativity, that other dimensional connection, right? They need to connect with things that are beyond this world, beyond this realm, something deeper, something more expansive. Pisces is what connects everything to everything else. It's what's hidden beneath the surface. And Pisces can also get confused about their identity because they tend to be the scapegoat for other people's projections because they encompass all of these energies of all these different signs. And there's almost like this, and there is this confusion sometimes with identity and all of that. So especially when they're younger, they can become the scapegoats in their family where people are projecting their own energy onto the Pisces person. And so that could be very difficult and very confusing. So you learn to take on these roles that are not yours to take on because other people have projected that role onto you based on their own energy. And so that can be difficult to deal with. On the opposite end, people can sort of project like guru energy onto Pisces people, like, oh my gosh, they're so great, they're so wonderful, they're so spiritual, they're so this, they're so that, you know. And so a lot of times these projections are unwarranted, because it's really people projecting their own ideas, their own energy onto the Pisces sun sign person. But in general, Pisces sun sign people, they need that deeper connection. They need to be able to do something creative. They need to be able to connect in a deeper way. They're really something that can be nourishing for Pisces people is engaging in fantasy, in, you know, illusion, in you know, creativity, where you're really immersing yourself in different roles. You know, these Pisces people, people with a huge Neptune influence, are really, really good actors and actresses, because they can really just embody the energy of the role that they're playing, so they can become another person completely if they want to. They're like the shapeshifters, the chameleons of the zodiac. So you really can be whoever you need to be in any situation. And even if you're not trying to be that person, people are going to project that energy onto you anyway. That's just the nature of Pisces. And so, but yeah, you need to be able to engage in something creative, fantastical. There needs to be, you need to connect with love, compassion, like this idealistic sort of viewpoint. And the danger with Pisces is that Pisces tends to be the martyr, because Pisces sun sign people are so compassionate, they are so loving, and sometimes Pisces sun sign people will connect themselves or disconnect themselves from the energy of their sun sign, just because they can be so overwhelmed, right, by their compassion and their love for other people. And you know, they tend to, sometimes they can lack boundaries, right, because they care so much for other people. And that's where the martyrdom comes in, where you're giving, 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 and sacrificing yourself for other people, and you're not getting anything in return. You're not feeling fulfilled from that. And so finding fulfillment from within first is going to be most important for Pisces sun sign people. And rather than finding fulfillment through other people, through fulfilling other people's projections, and through taking on, you know, burdens and different things like that for other people, because you feel so compassionate and so loving toward them, which can be a beautiful thing as long as you have appropriate boundaries. And so I think that's, yeah. So stand up for yourself if you're a Pisces person, have really good boundaries, and, you know, do something creative and fun like that. And so, yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the sun signs. I just wanted to make this a quick video. I was just thinking about some of the foundational stuff in astrology. I am going to be putting together a basic astrology course, which, you know, might come out, I think, probably in the spring. So keep an eye out for that. And so I've been just kind of going through these things, and I thought it would be an interesting video to do. And if you want to book a reading with me and have me read your entire chart, I really love, you know, doing the deeper stuff, like going through all the different deep psychological things, all the patterns, you know, helping you work through all of your stuff, all of your baggage and that kind of thing in the birth chart. And I also am doing transit readings right now for 2018 for $50 off of my normal reading price. So you can find the link for that in the description below if you want to get a 2018 transit reading. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Bye.